Sometimes if you want to know if a room is haunted or not, all you have to do is ask.
Move it. Holy sh**.
It's creepy, but I'm not sure this object really moved on its own. It sounds like a fan is blowing from side to side and could have moved the object instead of a ghost. Tell me if you hear it.
Holy sh**.
He might have put the bottle at just the right distance to make it seemingly move upon his command. Is this moment paranormal to you? I'm on the fence with this one. Two grown men are roaming the woods when they come across a creature that's making some very guttural warning noises. Suddenly, something wrapped in baggy robes lunges straight at them. As far as I can tell, only one of them makes it to the car, and then, I don't think it ends well. No other information on this video is available. Rancor Slayer begins his video of a bare white basement wall. He says he and his sister were playing down in this basement with Nerf guns when he was pushed against this wall, which sounded hollow. He said this surprised him because there's nothing there in the plans of the house. He takes a drill to the wall, cutting a little hole to take a look. He then pokes a screwdriver through to make the hole cleaner. He cuts through the wall, digs through the insulation and says, "There is something here, but what is that something?" He says he feels cold air there, so there must in fact be something beyond. He clears the insulation out of the way. There's a piece of plywood behind it, and when he pushes the plywood over, he finds an entire hidden room. The room is rather large but short, so he crouches while exploring the area. In the corner of the room, there's a briefcase covered by leaves. "This is what I was imagining would be in here," he says. Inside he finds Canadian money, Pez dispensers, toys which he says appear to be from the 70s, an old coin purse with old coins inside, some colored pencils, a Burger King pin, and a hockey ribbon. Some claim the video is fake, but this YouTuber says that this must be a time capsule because some of the money is sealed. He says his family has lived in this house for 16 years now, and the room had remained hidden all this time. So what do you think, staged or not? You decide. This creepy video takes viewers on an adventure around the world through Google Earth, and what we discover is not of this world. Published by Kanon Mujik, the journey begins with a zoom toward Japan. Landing on the streets of an unknown city, Google Earth pans skyward between two buildings and spies this thing floating above. It looks like a squid or octopus. The dark figure's details are difficult to make out, but it has two thin limbs, a short abdomen, and a football-shaped head. What is this thing? Is it an extraterrestrial? Is it some creepy kite? Or is it the ocean in the sky? This homeowner in Montgomery, Texas catches a stranger in distress on their doorbell cam. It's about 3 in the morning when a woman frantically rings the bell at the Sunrise Ranch subdivision. Look again and you'll notice what could be shackles dangling from both of her arms, suggesting this person could have been taken captive and recently freed themselves. The sheriff's department is worried that this woman may have been running for her life and trying to get help from the nearest home. Police released this video in August of 2018 hoping for anonymous tips, but so far no one has come forward with any explanation. As for who this woman is or what happened to her on that fateful night, no one can say for sure. Connor is an urban explorer from the UK who has been making urbex videos for over 3 years and has had his share of eerie encounters. The Explorer Returns is the name of his channel, and on it are 2 places in particular that I bet he wished he never stepped foot in. One of them is the Merrick Park Nursing Home. Shut down in 2014, the nursing home became the center of controversy after 2 residents lost their lives due to neglect. An investigation revealed the elderly were being fed medication that was out of date and didn't work. They were also helplessly exposed in cold water baths for prolonged periods of time, and other mistreatments that no one should have to endure. It's pitch black outside when Connor and his friend Daniel find the place, and the inside is just as dark. His flashlight combs across room after room filled with flowers sent by family members who had no idea what miserable conditions their loved ones were being kept in. The doors still have names on them, and the residents seem to respond to having their name read aloud. Connor enters one room and a feeling of intense unease makes him let out an involuntary moan. A woman's laughter comes from the corner of the room by a pile of her former possessions that are no doubt teeming with energy from her passing. Like I said before, it's only Connor and Daniel, so they shouldn't be hearing any other voices, let alone a laugh like this one. At any rate, the spirits seem relatively friendly until they make a mistake at 2 minutes and 19 seconds by wiping some leaves off of these 2 names with their shoe. They meant no disrespect by the gesture, just the opposite actually, but stepping on the names of those who have passed in their own home is bound not to go over well. After all, these spirits have already experienced enough mistreatment when they were still alive. Connor steps at the doorway of a laundry room lined with someone's clothes. He doesn't notice the arm of the shirt sleeve move on its own. It's probably just a draft from the open window now that I look closer at it, but that still doesn't explain the angry eyes peering at him from within. They somehow miss this and instead focus on something upstairs. The power is off, and yet a strange chime takes them up a floor. The tension grows as they track it from room to room until the source is only a few feet away.
In here. Yes, in here.
They find a motion sensor that stays on for as long as the door remains open. However, it wasn't going off until recently, so that means the door must have just opened when no one was on that floor. It's weird, but they're more relieved it's not an alarm, so they press on to the 3rd floor. Holes in the roof have left some rooms filled with leaves and open to the elements. They don't find much up here, and when they are ready to leave, their suspicions about opening doors are confirmed.
Nothing, just empty, just rooms. It's all just...
The door that they had clearly left open at 12 minutes and 50 seconds is now mysteriously closed. Either it has shut on its own, which is certainly possible because it's pretty thin and lightweight, or else something closed it besides them. As they are leaving the Merrick Park nursing home, the camera picks up a final occurrence. Listen. The craziest of all though has to be when Connor explores an abandoned asylum at 1 in the morning. Through the woods and under a gate lies the hapless estate where many were held their entire lives. It takes Connor 8 minutes just to find an unboarded window, and by then he is almost too fearful to venture inside. Aside from the paranormal, this looks to be a possible hangout for tough locals as well. The inside is completely and unnaturally silent. The house doesn't creak, crack, or settle at all. Connor keeps hearing things that don't register up on camera, and he suspects that something is in the large room with him. He sets up a K2 meter to detect electromagnetic energy but finds none. He talks out loud to a spirit who apparently isn't there, then gets moving again. Or maybe the spirit was listening close by all along.
Let's go upstairs.
When he goes into the next room, he catches on camera a fleeting glimpse of a tall shadow at 12 minutes and 15 seconds. He doesn't see the shadow man in real life, but his equipment certainly does. It's not graffiti either, if that's what you were thinking, because when he comes back downstairs and turns at 17 minutes 4 seconds, the wall it was standing against is clean. It's nowhere to be found. Meanwhile, the room where Connor left his K2 meter suddenly experiences odd activity as a mysterious white light slowly grows into a beam for a full minute, from 15 minutes and 15 seconds to 16 minutes and 15 seconds, and then fades away. He goes back to the K2 meter and runs some more experiments. None of his questions get any answers, and it doesn't seem interested in communicating with him at all, or at least not as much as it wants to from a distance. He sets up the K2 meter in another room and decides if this doesn't work, then he will end the investigation. He doesn't know that he has already caught both a shadow figure and a mysterious white light on tape already, and is growing somewhat frustrated. Just when he is ready to give up, the shadow man returns. And as he quivers in the cold, he fails to miss two eyes looking at him from the doorway where the footsteps just were. The K2 meter still hasn't gone off, but that's because it's not in the room with him. It's clearly waiting just outside.
I'm done. I'm so done.
Upon announcing that this investigation is over, the Shadow Man takes it upon himself to walk into the same room and make itself known.
Holy.
The abandoned boys are exploring a haunted forest where some scary things are said to lurk late at night. They reach a mysterious clearing, and while searching through the tall grass, they somehow miss a figure in blue robes, standing right in front of the camera at 12 seconds. 14 seconds later, the same figure has somehow teleported and now stares them down. In this alleged witch sighting caught on camera in the woods, a woman is hunched over and appears to have her robes pulled over her head. She moves slowly, and assuming this is real and not one of their friends, no doubt has a curse or two waiting for them upon her touch. Her very image itself might be cursed, and could explain why the video has lost most of its quality. Do you think you could stick it out in an abandoned former asylum, and what if you were being watched when you got there? Published to YouTube by This Is Dan Bell in September of 2015. This Place of Nightmares is a hauntingly beautiful house of horrors. The stone building is hidden in an overgrown woods, and naturally Dan enters the basement first, wallpaper chipping from the wall. As he explores, Dan explains that he kept hearing noises throughout his exploration, which sounded like a person. He thinks a former patient returned to this building and was living there. Well, as a viewer, you're likely distracted by all the intricate details of this building, including its decorative tiles and molding, its stained glass sunroof and one stairwell, its fireplaces and chandeliers. You might miss this figure in the doorway. Dan himself only noticed when safely back home, watching the video back. The point in question occurs at around 7 minutes 5 seconds, when he's turning a corner around a stairwell. There's an open door in a hallway beyond with light shining against the door, and a shadow is plainly visible. It moves as Dan turns to head up the stairs. Plenty of other strange things occurred during this visit, including Dan's battery popping, and what looked like red stains found on the tile floor in an upstairs room. That's probably the point where you should get the heck out of an abandoned building. I'm just glad Dan and his team made it out. YouTuber Dark Life says this was the worst EHF find he's ever discovered in an abandoned house. Dennis explains that he didn't bring his tent, so he won't be spending the night.
Ладно, пойду я дальше, не буду терять время. Сегодня я без палатки, поэтому ночевать я здесь не буду оставаться.
Later inside, a spirit confirms that she is there.
Здесь кто-нибудь есть из мира мертвых?
The spirit says that she remembers her relatives.
Помнишь что-нибудь из жизни? Ты что-нибудь помнишь из жизни?
As Dennis is standing in the dark, he accidentally steps on a hornet's nest.
Опа. Я попал.
He leaves a camera down there instead, so as not to be stung, but something spins his camera around. I don't know what did that, but it was not a hornet. Omar Vassell and his friend are having a very strange problem in the toy section of Target. I will let them explain everything in a moment, but let's just say one of the toys seems to be a little too active.
What is that? This toy does not go off, and this toy does not go off, but the center toy goes off. Off. My hand's over here. Bow. Toy goes off. Just watch. What is that? Like, please tell me what that is. America, please.
Maybe the batteries are depleted in all of the toys except for the one in the middle, but that still doesn't explain why it would go off when the other toys are touched. I feel like this video could have an obvious explanation that I'm not thinking of, so if you recognize these toys, or if you know anything about the toy manufacturing or design in general, then please let me know how this could possibly happen. So years ago, I analyzed a creepy video of a mysterious handprint found in this family's haunted home in a hard-to-reach area really high up in the corner above the stairs. Years later, their house still appears to be haunted as ever.
This wall has since been painted, and the exact same print is still there.
Okay, so the wall does in fact look to be painted a different color. The original video has a yellow wall and now it's gray. It's the same distance from the ceiling and has the same impossibly long fingers extending from an oblong palm, more like the paw print of a creature than that of a human. So I guess the work of a demon is not out of the question. With that said, I guess they could have stenciled the handprint and recreated it over the new paint job, but that seems like a lot of work and there should be some mistakes. The handprints in the two videos looks nearly identical to me, and therefore I think this follow-up video is probably paranormal. And judging from their evidence, it looks like this paranormal entity, ghost, demon, whatever you want to call it, is not going to stop haunting their home anytime soon. Grim Experience is a YouTuber who has been experiencing paranormal activity at not one, but two separate homes.
Okay, you know how her house is haunted? We explored the basement the other day. Clearly haunted.
It really is.
I ain't ever going over there again.
There's so many stories, like I could write a book.
His wife was using the Ouija board, and now they think something followed them out of her basement and into their home. They decide to go ghost hunting at 3 a.m. in a room full of collectible dolls. What they've caught on tape is beyond creepy, but is it paranormal? Let's take a look.
And they said, give us a sign. And then all of a sudden,
All right, can we have to talk about
the flowers started rising up out of the...
He is in the middle of telling us what happened in the basement when he is interrupted by an avalanche of dolls caught on video falling over. He's so into his story that he runs forward seconds before the dolls fall, so perhaps his pounding footsteps are to blame. Except look again. At 1 minute and 50 seconds, Grim sees a demonic ghost face grinning back at him. The ghost must have attached itself to one of the dolls, and when the dolls moved, it was because the ghost was feeding off his wife's fear. When Ravi Singh and his friends see two mysterious figures in white, they have an odd reaction and decide to flash their high beams instead of driving away. I feel like they're trying to prove a point here, but I don't understand. So if you speak the language, tell me what they're saying.
आगे कर अपन डिप पर मार तो प्रवास होत बापा मन.
What's kind of weird is how the possible spirits always seem to stay just outside of the headlights, almost like they want to follow but only while staying in the darkness. And I think they are trying to point out that the spirits do not show up on the dash cam, but I'm not sure.
हाँ जान दे पिछू जान दे पिछू.
I'm hoping someone can translate this scenario, because I really want to know what's going on. Leaked video comes from the Kaluzhsky airport in Russia. One of the planes loses all stability and wobbles unsteadily, trying its best to navigate a safe path through heavy air currents. The pilot continues to wrestle with the controls, which are becoming more unstable by the minute, and I think I see a small fire under the wheel. If he misses the runway here, there's no circling around for a second chance. The wings dip unevenly as the plane disappears behind the tree line. No one can see what is happening and they listen for the worst. A short while later, the plane miraculously emerges from behind the trees and touches down. The passengers get to live another day. There's a meeting going down inside this office. The only problem? No one attended. Published by Teofilo in August of 2011, this mysterious activity was captured on camera. The video shows what looks like your everyday office, but you soon realize it absolutely isn't. A chair and stool move near simultaneously by themselves. After the chair slows to a standstill, the stool jerks out even further into the aisle. It continues to move, even tilting at one point. It later dives over onto the floor. Is this a ghost meeting gone wrong? Or is some visual trickery happening here? Either way, if you work here, it might be a good idea to call in sick tomorrow. The Sorrel Weed House is said to be one of the most haunted buildings in all of Savannah, Georgia. 2 different women have met their end here. One of them, named Matilda, who is said to still roam the courtyard in her black dress. While taking a tour of the area, a YouTuber named Billy Smith captures this quick video of a woman fleeing the house, wearing an all-black corset. What's weird is how she never actually opens the front door to her left. Instead, she appears out of nowhere to cross the space between 2 columns, and then does emerge from the other side. According to Billy, this figure was heading in the opposite direction of the parking lot, so if they were a staff member, they would have to double around to get to their car eventually. He waited until 1:30 in the morning and saw no one else from the house for the rest of the night, and certainly no other traces of her. You're exploring a dark underground mine, water dripping, echoes, silence, and then you hear this. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Resurrect. The Redditor was on an adventure through the Disido mine in Arizona when he heard what he describes as footsteps on wood coming from deep within the tunnel. He says he and his crew were the only ones there at the time. Would you hightail it out of there or wait to see who or what was approaching? Well, most in the comments are already racing for the hills. Redditor JD250 offers a potential explanation. He writes, "When I was a kid, I lived up in Tennessee right on an old mine used by the town for storing stuff in the early 1800s, and I would hear sounds like these." Although JD says that he doesn't personally believe in ghosts, he admits to sensing the presence of pain and suffering in a place. On another note, the Redditor felt angry and hostile vibes in the place and insisted that it felt like something terrible had occurred in that mine, and he didn't want to know what it was. He also notes that his stepfather felt he couldn't breathe at one point, and not from overexertion. Do you think this could be explained naturally? Or is something haunting this mining tunnel? Wherever you stand, myself and most agree that this is one of the creepiest videos posted. A statue jabs another statue with a trident in the middle of the night if this video is to be believed, which I have trouble doing, aside from looking like possible special effects because of the awkward way the statue moves. The way the camera mysteriously cuts out as soon as the trident makes contact is too much of a coincidence. This would be really creepy to see in real life, but that'd be the only way I'd be convinced that this video is actually real. J-Squad family and a friend are taking an Uber ride from a party to a hotel. The driver slowly starts to make him feel very uncomfortable, so his friend begins recording the interaction for both evidence and their personal safety. The driver asks about J-Squad's girlfriend and makes other weird personal comments throughout the conversation, like this one for example.
But you're not the word that they said. You're so much more than that. Yeah, thank you. You're so welcome.
J-Squad isn't sure what to say, so he just kind of goes along. That is, until the driver stops following the GPS instructions and goes in the completely wrong direction.
Do you think you should turn to...
Yeah, probably should.
Oh my god.
I knew I was gonna. I knew it.
Well, good, thank you.
He promises to get J Squad back to his hotel, but there's something in his voice that I find very insincere and maybe even slightly menacing. Eventually, the friend in the backseat nervously says,
Anyways.
I'm so tired.
Yeah.
I'm so tethered, which I think means that he feels so trapped right now. J Squad nods in silent agreement. The driver does not pick up on any of this and keeps talking. Eventually, the driver gets noticeably perturbed, and he stops talking to them completely for a while.
Listen to the radio.
His music selection sounds like something Norman Bates would choose, and only serves to creep them out even more. Then, without warning, he makes a startling demand.
Guys, feel free to sing along. Keep that camera on too.
At this point, he has noticed the camera and sarcastically tells them to keep recording. J Squad quickly tells him to pull over at a random street and they get out safely. Who knows what would have happened to them if they didn't have the quick wits to start recording the situation. Aquatic researchers are stunned to see this massive shark pass by their cameras at a depth of 3,300 feet below sea level.
Here he comes again. Here he comes. Got it. Man.
Can you get him on?
Oh, whoa.
Yeah, look how thick he is.
He's huge.
As the giant shark circumnavigates their equipment, the researchers try to estimate its measurements based on the space between the two laser dots. While this size falls short of an adult megalodon, some people have pointed out that this could be a juvenile. Since all scientists have to go off of is their teeth and backbone fossils, we may never know for sure. A YouTuber named Brett Johnson says there is a ghost in the hallway of his house haunting him every night when he returns from work, and what's most bizarre is that the paranormal activity only happens in the hallway. The ghost doesn't seem to care about haunting any other places. It's not a draft either. Even with a big fan blowing the opposite way, a ghost still closes the door, and when he puts his camera down and waits for 2 hours, the door behind the fan mysteriously opens. It's like the ghost is messing with his mind. I would say that this is a fake video except for one thing. When he investigates the rest of his house to show us, nothing is there. A weird noise happens nearby, like something passes right by him, and it seems to have left through the front door. Downright Dives is a 3-man team of dumpster divers who go through the trash looking for discarded valuables. They comb through a series of dumpsters without incident, mostly coming across old rotten food. They're searching through the last couple of dumpsters when one of them makes a startling discovery.
No. It's moved in there, guys. Guys. It's moved in there. I'm not even joking. I'm not even joking.
Neither of his two friends believe that there could have been somebody lying at the bottom of the dumpster. They just have to take a closer look for themselves.
That box right there just moved. I'm not even joking. That one. Oh, no. Go.
The camera doesn't get a clean shot, but you can hear a man pop up from underneath the boxes and screams that he owns everything inside of the dumpster. According to the description, it was a homeless man who continued to come after them and even got into a physical altercation off camera. I'm on the fence with this one since we never get a chance to see the homeless person in question. Also, living in a dumpster is a stereotype about homeless people that is rarely true, so this encounter is very unlikely. Let me know if you agree. This scary Reddit video was posted by a user named Naval Court, who says he caught a spirit giving his friend's child a hard time while it's trying to rest. First, the child stands up as if he sees somebody enter, or maybe he's even called over. He slowly looks up at something much taller than him, and as soon as he lays his eyes upon it, he falls with force. He sits off and shakes it off, and then something flies by overhead. He even looks over his shoulder and sees it. Some people think the kid is just acting silly, as children tend to do, and maybe even shaking his head to try and stay awake, but I agree with Naval Court that this is weird and could be a ghost like he thought. You expect to come across witches at night, but in the broad light of day, somehow that's even scarier. Published in July of 2019, this video purports to show a witch spotted in Mexican ruins. A man is shown exploring the ruins. Little does he know, over his left shoulder, at a short distance, glides the shadow of a witch. At first the men are oblivious, but as they turn around and walk back towards the entrance, the figure appears again. This time not lurking in the shadows, but rather in the light of day. The men are aware of its presence this time, and as they start to exclaim, the witch takes flight, up and away, hopefully as far away as humanly possible. The video is certainly blurry, which makes determining what this figure actually is quite difficult. In January of 2018, this emergency message was broadcasted to everyone in the entire state of Hawaii.
A missile may impact on land or sea within minutes. This is not a drill.
What's more alarming is how everyone seems to ignore the emergency directions that are instructing them to pull over. Bethany and the vehicle in front of her continue to drive, even when told by the radio to stop, although to be completely fair, they could have been on a one-lane road with nowhere safe to pull over.
If you are driving, pull safely to the side of the road and seek shelter in a building or lay on the floor. We will announce when the threat has ended.
The broadcast puts the entire island into a panic, and I feel like this live stream video summarizes everyone's reaction perfectly. The first stage is a sort of disbelief and the need to confirm it's really happening.
Oh gosh, what happened? Did you guys get that? Did you not get that? There's an emergency ballistic missile threat.
The next stage is acceptance that this is real, which leads to scrambling for a plan, even in the face of total obliteration.
Oh my god! What do we do?
And the final stage is panicking at the realization that all hope is lost, that your life is about to truly end. The urge to run somewhere, anywhere, sets in even though it's clear nothing can be done.
Babe, what do we do?
Do what?
As it turns out, this broadcast was a major mistake made by staff at a military command post. There was nothing this time, but based on these videos and countless others, I don't think we would really do as well as we would like to think in the face of an actual catastrophe.
Okay, there is actually no wind.
That's strange. What's that noise?
Scary noises are coming from the end of a dark alleyway. Scary noises that sound more like a creature than a human.
Right, I don't want to go down there.
You've got night vision. You go down.
How do you get the night vision?
You just press the button on the side of the camera.
Oh my... It's someone's telly? Pete, it's someone's telly.
He turns on the night vision just in time to catch the flash of two large eyes the size of dinner plates and maybe 7 or 8 feet from the ground. They call out into the darkness and are greeted by a snarling creature that is finally caught on video. First, the eyes are visible once more at 1 minute and 17 seconds, moments before it comes at them, and right before they drop the camera to run, there is a blur of a mysterious creature on all fours running them down.
At least it's not dark behind us now.
This creepy encounter was posted to Reddit by Ghosty Phase. A Ring doorbell camera captured a young woman's stalker. The woman says she was followed home from Walmart and her stalker showed up on her doorstep. At first, the man appears to be looking for his own keys, but then he fails to find any and peers around the corner of the house. Many are wondering if the creep left something for his victim. Although we can agree that this is beyond creepy and edging into full-on horror, I do think this footage reminds us not to trust anyone. You never know when you could cross paths with someone like this. A telephone pole goes down, leaving wires scattered across the road. Witnesses are calling police when somebody makes the curious mistake of walking up close for a better look.
That's the whole point. It's all I'm supposed to be around electricity.
I'm not exaggerating when I say a bolt of electricity could shoot through this line and strike him down. The wire he steps over at 14 seconds is the same wire shown here at 6 seconds, still connected to the pole. This person should be nowhere near the area. Downed power lines are extremely hazardous because they can still be active, and there's no way to tell until it's too late. He's extremely lucky he's alive, and I'm surprised nobody in these cars were shouting at him to get back. If you see a situation like this, never do what this person does, or it could be your last moments on Earth. Randy Doss claims to live in a haunted house and offers this video evidence for proof.
I dare you to slam that door.
They start recording this video after the door opens all by itself, at which point they try to get the spirit to do something else, and with that said, the ghost seemingly takes up the challenge. Watch the crack in the door and you'll see there's absolutely nobody on the other side.
No.
Just for the record, it's only Nick and I here.
Just when the door almost slams shut, this happens.
Oh my god, no! Oh my god!
Whoa.
The obvious answer is that there is a child standing on the other side of the door, but look again. There appears to be nothing more than an empty sleeve, and more importantly, it doesn't make contact with the door at all. This makes me think that whatever forced the door open could have also wrestled the nearby jacket too. More proof that ignorance is bliss. If you knew what monsters lurked below, would you ever put your boat out? Simon Lawrence published this drone footage of a great white having a go at a 7-meter crab boat near Port Lincoln, South Australia in October of 2017. You can see the enormous shark drift carelessly beneath the boat. At first, the shark appears to have no interest in his two-legged friends or their curious contraption, but then the shark does a 180 and returns, appearing to nudge the rear of the boat. In the video description, Lawrence notes what happened. The shark surfaced after we pulled the pod off him. Well, he was swimming off with it. We didn't drag the shark, nor did it drag us. It did, however, put its nose against the motor and started to push us around. It then put its mouth over the echo sounder transducer. You can see the shark surface a couple times, which is quite scary in and of itself, just as the face above the water is a little too Jaws-esque for the faint of heart. You can also see the shark move against the motor, although it doesn't seem to have caused any damage. After a while, the shark bugs off and takes a rope with it. Another scary encounter with our big tooth friends from down under. So first, a little backstory. A deleted Reddit account posted a photo of a broadcast interruption they experienced on July 24th, 2022, asking if anyone else had experienced the same thing. On screen, there's a photo of a boy who is apparently missing, and there's a number to call if you have information as to his whereabouts. Well, submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Skeletor, this Redditor tried calling the number on screen. It was apparently a Republic of Ireland phone number. Let's watch their submission and see what happens.
November Golf 0456.000 Whiskey Echo Bravo Hotel Oscar Sierra Tango Alpha Papa Charlie Oscar Mike.
To re-record your message, press hash at any time.
In the comments, Disastrous Street 3101 wrote, "Seriously weird. If you keep pausing it, you could jot the message down. I really hope the boy isn't in any danger." Well, Golf Whiskey 21 thinks it's the phonetic alphabet. Redditor Ultravillain even tried to solve the code, and it appears it may be a website, as it ends in .com. This is nothing short of bizarre, and I'll be staying away from this phone number and any websites it tries to take me to.
Mike in the Sierra in the November Golf 0456 .000 Whiskey Echo Bravo Hotel Oscar Sierra Tango Alpha Papa Charlie Oscar Mike.
To re-record your message, press hash at any time.
A YouTuber named Phoebe Mayhew made a scary face swap video from 2016 that's still an unsolved mystery to this day, and I'm hoping this is the year we can find an answer. So Phoebe makes a joke about having no friends to face swap with, when this invisible presence takes her up on her generous offer to change faces.
Hello, anyone want?
The eerie apparition is apparently above her, and she switches places with something peering in from the highest point of the door. So the only thing in the corner that possibly looks like a face would be the overhead lighting. But when Phoebe tries to recreate the situation, nothing happens.
Wait, it's definitely not the light it was doing it to. Because the light's over there and it's not doing it now.
Like I said, I don't see anything else in that doorway that could have set off the face swap. Do you? It makes me wonder if something tall and creepy was watching her and then vanished. A YouTube channel called Free For All plans to explore a series of tunnels underneath Minneapolis that are rumored to eventually lead to a place called Satan's Cave, which no one has ever seen before. The group of friends grow progressively dirtier as they squeeze through narrow opening after narrow opening, sometimes climbing through sections of the tunnel that have almost completely collapsed just to see what's next. Soon the brick walls give way to smooth gray stone that more closely resembles the likes of a cave. When they see these highly detailed faces carved into the wall, they know they are on the right track. It's definitely a creepy sight for sure, but walls are still covered with tons of graffiti, which means that 1 million people have been here before. They aren't crossing new territory, at least not yet. After a while, they happen upon a side tunnel that seems to be unmarked and unexplored. They have to hunch over and eventually crawl on their hands and knees in order to continue. It's a long time before they stumble upon what has to be the narrow mouth of Satan's Cave. The cave eventually opens into a cramped chamber of sorts. The situation becomes all too real when they realize the hole in the wall is too narrow to crawl through. There is a hole to their left that leads straight down into pitch black darkness. Everyone gets an uneasy feeling about this huge floor opening, and they wisely decide to turn back around. Judging from the cave's nickname, I definitely wouldn't want to see what's down that final hole either. A YouTuber named Jack Torrance says that he found this old VHS tape at a yard sale. Most of it is just a man walking through the forest while holding a stick for protection. There's very little sound except for footsteps and his labored breathing as he hikes onward. Later, night falls and the man is still going forward at a decent pace, maybe even faster than before. He appears disoriented and swings the camera wildly as he travels, almost like he has lost his way and is now panicking. Then something makes him abruptly stop. It's hard to tell for sure, but it looks like some kind of green sack on the ground. Then it's pulled by a yellow string across the forest floor. When the cameraman looks up, he finds only darkness. It seems like whoever filmed this was alone the entire video, so I have no idea what was on the ground or, more importantly, who was pulling it away. When ghosts just won't leave you alone, what more can you do but investigate? Published to YouTube by Ghosts of Carmel, Maine. In December of 2017, this 4-part paranormal series has it all. In the first video, the homeowner explains that the ghosts in his home just won't leave him be. He welcomes the good ghosts to stay, but the activity has skyrocketed.
Not the one that's saying it. Hello? Is anybody in here?
He says they're constantly saying his name. In the first video, while running the spirit box, the spirit tells him, "It's me." When he asks who's in here, the spirit says, "Just you, Kent." The spirit also tells him, "It's my house, I need help, Rachel's in trouble." All throughout the clip, he hears other EVPs and disembodied voices, even without using the spirit box. In parts 2, 3, and 4, as the investigation continues, he and his wife regularly hear disembodied voices throughout the home. Often the voice cusses, tells Kent to get out of there, asks for help, or tells him to be careful. When he's in the room with what he calls the witch's window, the spirit is even more vocal. It says, "We're not done, they're all weak." Kent also sees faces in the porch window, which he believes are spirits. After listening to all this, it's not a stretch to think that something bad happened in this house. And could that be what is causing the paranormal events that are happening in this house? This Snapchat video was taken at a school in Esterville, Iowa. You can see a deer standing outside looking very confused before it suddenly tries to get in without warning.
Watch out!
Clearly, the zombie deer wants to get inside however it can, searching around the sides of the glass for an opening, before giving up and resuming its confused vegetative state. Those inside are lucky that this deer is too small to break the glass. If this was a full-grown deer running at them, things could have been much different. Hopefully, they contacted animal control and thoroughly disinfected this door before letting anyone touch it. Have you ever seen a door slam all on its own? Okay, but have you seen it happen in a creepy underground morgue? Steady Pop published this horrifying video in May of 2017, which begins scary and then escalates even further. As the camera wads into the darkness with a flickering lantern lighting a hallway, strange slamming noises are heard. You might be screaming, "Don't go down there," at your computer screen right now, but the cameraman isn't listening. He walks towards the hallway, and as he gets closer, you can see what's making that slamming noise. It's a red door down at the end of the hallway. It's opening and closing shut on repeat with no end in sight. As the cameraman gets closer and closer, your heart starts beating faster and faster. And then suddenly the door stops slamming. The lights flicker on and then off completely. When they turn back on again, the cameraman walks over to the door and opens it. Nothing is inside. The cameraman turns down towards the end of the hallway and into the adjacent room, but nothing. Was this the paranormal in action? Or as some in the comments believe, was a fishing line involved? Real or fake, what do you think? It's certainly some interesting footage. Al Capone has long held an obsession with exploring the scariest, most haunted places he can find. One of his creepiest videos ever has to be the time he went investigating a local cemetery at 3 a.m.
God, I'm freaked out. There's an open door right there. Hello? What was that? What was that? Hello? If that's a spirit, can you do that again, or maybe move that light switch? Turn on that light for me?
The ghost does not turn off the lights, but what he accidentally caught on camera next convinced his subscribers and freaked them out. A ghostly figure appears beyond the stairs. He stares back to where it was, like he senses something, so I think this paranormal sighting might be real. No random person would be at the cemetery at 3 a.m. It could be a maintenance worker, which would explain why the closet door was open earlier, but that doesn't explain the strange noise coming from within the room, or why his light flickered when he heard it. 2 months later, he takes a 15-minute hike through the woods to go exploring what he calls one of the most haunted places in the world, the Blair Witch House.
Weren't here previously to us documenting this place. What was that? Hello? Is anybody in this home? I'm just making a video. This is so freaky. What was that? Oh man. Oh. The hair's still untouched in this bathroom. Whoa! Oh! Hello? This is one of the most haunted places I've ever been. I don't know why I came out here by myself. And I don't get really good phone reception, so if something was to happen to me, I just hate this place. Yo, this place is so scary. I heard something in the kitchen. This place makes my anxiety run so high. I don't know if you remember me. I'm sure you do. I've done so many investigations here. And I've caught you on camera many times. What the? What was that?
The spirit takes him in circles, toying with him in his rising fear.
I'm starting to feel like I'm hallucinating a little bit. Somebody back there? I'm not playing if someone's back there. Oh my, I hate this house. I'm not messing around. I want you to reveal yourself. Whoa! It's happening again, dude. I hate this house, bro. They need to tear this place down. Oh! Oh! Yo! I'm closing this door. Yo! No! In the name of Jesus! Oh, there's a bat! In the name of Jesus! There's a bat right there. Oh!
He's freaking out and cornered when a bat flies under the door. It's seriously creepy, and I don't know how this can be faked unless he somehow has a pet bat on hand, which I doubt. When he opens the door, no one's there. This investigation's a little too paranormal for his own good. Time to bail. My final analysis of both these ghost videos is that they are probably real. The first one might have been a cemetery groundskeeper, but it might have been a ghost, and either way, I don't think it was planned at all. The Blair Witch House video could have been a second person off camera, except for that bat under the door. Also, the Blair Witch House has been investigated by multiple channels, and the paranormal activity is fairly consistent, so I don't think he was faking any of it. Freaky, right? These two scary videos were both captured in cemeteries, published by Jesus Guadalajardo in June of 2018. A strange figure appears in the top corner of the footage early in the clip.
Hey,
got Easter eggs right there.
The figure seems to fly in and out of view very briefly, after which you can hear what sounds like high-pitched laughter.
Where?
Too creepy for me. In the second video, published by Ghost Adventures of Cornwall in May of 2021, Mark captures a bright greenish-yellow orb floating amongst the tombstones.
Whoa, thank you, spirits. Thank you. Thank you for showing yourself. Wow. That's amazing!
Mark is very encouraging of the orb as it appears and then leaves for a moment, only to appear again.
Wow, that's amazing, man. Look at that. He's showing himself. I feel it's a man.
One viewer in the comments says the color yellow is considered positive, so perhaps this is a good spirit. Are these spirits hanging around for their own reasons, or do they reappear to provide the living evidence of the afterlife? Om is a popular YouTuber from Delhi, India, who for 2 years has been steadily growing his channel Om Vlogs. At first, he would do normal things like go to a museum or an amusement park, but about a year ago, he started to get into ghost hunting. Now, he goes on ghost hunting explorations all the time, and they are really good. Delhi has a population of about 30 million people, so we are talking about a single city with as many people as the whole state of Texas, which means plenty of places to explore and plenty of ghosts to be found. So recently, Om Vlogs went to a building that was so cursed he wouldn't say the name of it or where it was, only that it was a restaurant in his hometown where something horrendous happened that made them close down and never reopen. On May 13th of 2020, they visit it for the first time, or at least try to. They don't get far because a presence guarding the area won't let them go inside. They stay at what they mistake for a safe distance and peer in. There's a light that's orange here at 8 minutes and 9 seconds coming from an otherwise dark room. They don't see anything else and chance a closer look. Om is talking more about the place when a mysterious shadow descends the wall at 12 minutes and 23 seconds. A minute later, they learn beyond a doubt that something is inside. His friend is standing next to him, so it's not him. They dare not enter, but they stick around for a bit longer. At 15 minutes and 22 seconds, a single pixel goes white while recording a room on the second floor. When they zoom out, the light mysteriously goes away, but not before more black shapes pass over it. By now, it's getting late, so Om is wrapping up the video when he senses something watching him and points out a shadow figure that only he can see in person. It doesn't show up on camera, at least not that I can see, but you should remember this area for later because things are about to ramp up. Apparently whatever is in there is not happy to see them again when they return a few weeks later. This time a white-robed figure with a demonic head and 2 horns leans on the brick wall as if taunting them to try and go in, which they don't notice and proceed to do. They shine their light into a blown out window and eyes waverly reflect at 7 minutes and 5 seconds. The restaurant is obviously no longer taking reservations. They stand and brace themselves for whatever comes next, and when nothing happens, they decide to explore a few rooms before returning to the main area. As they think about whether to leave or not, a terrible feeling washes over them, and their camera goes out of focus like something is near, and it is. Om puts his hand up to shield the group from something they can't see, but we can. At 10 minutes and 58 seconds, it's coincidental standing in the exact same place where Om thought he saw something the first time. The building becomes more displeased with each passing moment. But when they go into the room to leave, its guardian is absolutely gone. I guess it knew they were leaving and letting them pass without harm. And I think I heard a fire alarm at 11 minutes and 18 seconds, even though the place clearly doesn't have one. I suspect it once burnt down. And what you heard was paranormal residual energy from the event. Om never does reveal the location, but there is a comment left by someone who thought they recognized the location, and I thought this was interesting. If someone could please confirm that this location is on the Carmel bypass road in in Delhi, that would be helpful. And tell us anything else you know about its haunted history. Don't you hate it when you're alone in your haunted house and the ghost girl comes out to play? Published in March of 2018, YouTuber Gencor shares this video of what he claims is the Ortega ghost girl. The man taking the video greets viewers, showing them around his living room. He then gives us a tour of his home. At one point, a stand-up fan in one of the rooms falls over, apparently of its own accord. You'll find out later that this is the haunted room. He leaves, lights an incense stick, and after a while returns to the scene of the incident. A toy moves out from under the bed as the man speaks to the spirit, saying they told him she wanted to talk to him and that he's going to close the door. You hear a sing-song voice, that of a little girl.
Dios santo. Dios, dijo hola.
When he shuts the door again, a loud banging is repeatedly heard.
Tengo miedo, la verdad. Tratando lo suficiente.
He opens it to find a basket in front of the door, not where it was last seen. Needless to say, he hightails it out of there. If you have no idea what's going on here, Aries Bautista has you covered in the comments. She writes, the girl played 3 times hard. He should not have opened. It is assumed that by touching 3 times, he opened a portal that the demons used to enter. Well then I guess he should have kept that portal closed. YouTuber Exploring with Josh spent the night in this building, one of the UK's most haunted hospitals.
It's called the Bonnie Garth Workhouse / Asylum.
Up to 300 people lost their lives in or died. Or
300 people could have died.
At first, the explorers scare each other.
We're fast, I bet.
I'm so glad no one got my reaction, dude.
But later, they discover it's not each other they should be afraid of.
You can let me know. I'm gonna keep going. Oh, yeah, okay. You ready?
After receiving that confirmation, they get a verbal one as well.
Or is there more like you here?
There's more. Do you like us? According to the spirit's communication, there are more like him around. Did one of these others touch Seth?
We're back in the dark. We're finding the stairs.
Something just touched my back.
Yo, chill. For real?
I swear to bro.
Dude, I'm telling you, this one.
I believe the spirit when he says he's not alone. The fact that multiple devices were triggered when the spirit was questioned makes me think this isn't just coincidence. Something is residing here. A YouTuber named RIS crams himself into a small cement sewer pipe for no other reason than to see how far he can go. As it turns out, the answer is not very far at all.
I can't move. Hopefully drone's coming soon.
Crawling in is always the easy part, but getting out is hard, especially with an oversized helmet that takes up more space. You can see one arm is pinned beneath him, and one arm is holding the camera. Backing out is not going to work in this position, and going forward offers no freedom either. His friends grab his legs, but the way his arm is wedged beneath of him makes him impossible to budge.
Oh yes, I'm getting pulled. No, I'm actually stuck.
Finally, he maneuvers his other arm out so they both stick out in front of him. They try a final time. He tries to play it off like it's no big deal, but you can hear some real struggling during this part.
Can you get out?
I think he's about another 5 minutes away from panicking, so I'm glad they didn't have to call an emergency rescue team to break him free. Randy films his cat taking a midday snooze when something creepy moves overhead. I would say this is just a particle of dust, except the cat sees it too and bolts upstairs like it's one of the scariest moments it's ever had in all of its 9 lives. Something makes the cat open its eyes. It senses something is wrong. Then an apparent ghost orb floats by, and suddenly the cat no longer wants to be in the same room anymore. Skeptics, I'm sure, will be quick to point out that the cat could have been startled by the camera. That's a good point, except cats usually don't run in fear from their owner. This cat seems to have felt the presence of something, a feline sixth sense of sorts, and it doesn't stick around. Two friends return to a spot in the woods where they think someone could be living. Yesterday they were playing tag in this small clearing, and it looks like somebody was close to them the entire time. A trail of random trash leads them to a morbid discovery that they now truly regret seeing.
Dude, the hand is messed up, dude.
Nailed to the tree is an old doll with black and purple clothes and white hair over its face, which you never get to see. Still, the doll gives off such a strange feeling that they refuse to touch it with their bare hands, probing it with a stick instead. One of them hangs back, but the other needs to see what's under the long white hair. He pushes the filthy doll hair aside. The doll's face fills him with regret, and he is too stunned to worry about the camera, but his reaction really says it all.
Oh my God.
Later, he says that the doll's face was completely burnt, aside from driving a nail through its middle. The doll's fingers look to have either been chopped or chewed off one by one as well. Whether this was a group of kids or a traveling wanderer, whoever rips apart dolls for fun is definitely not the type of person you want roaming around a minute from your backyard. And on top of that, I'm not even sure if this doll is safe to show, because it could very well have been cursed. While driving in Siberia, this dashcam captured a mythical creature on a snowy road. Redditor M Unexplained shares it in this scary clip. Do you see it? It looks like an enormous biped figure. Let's see it again. Do you think this is a yeti? Whatever it is, it's leaving experts baffled. A YouTuber named Erwin Saunders claims to be able to communicate with some mysterious forest creature who seems to come out after it rains, or so he says. He sits under a tree and talks for quite some time, and just when it seems like nothing mysterious or creepy is ever going to happen in these woods.
Oh, sorry about that. He was doing it. Oh, there he is. Okay, let's. There.
Some sort of goblin-like humanoid briefly comes out and abruptly leaves, checking over their shoulder all the while. The video quality remains high resolution and doesn't change, so people are saying this creature sighting could be real. This woman found her toy doll in a disturbing state, so she contacted YouTuber Luan Mendes to help her.
Simone! Ali já, mano. Mano, tudo bom? Bom, prazer, Luan. Pode entrar? Pode entrar. Oi? Tem alguém aí? Tem meu marido e minha filha. Cadê ele? Seu marido é o Leandro.
Shared by YouTube channel blah blah, this video is trending in the Arabic-speaking YouTube community.
Ah, tá estranho, mano.
E olha isso aqui.
Tá costurado, parece.
A mão tá costurada atrás.
Nossa.
E tá com uma fralda de criança. Com uma fralda de criança.
É.
Você comprou desse jeito já? Como que é?
Não, a gente tava passando.
After these guys come to take a look, they find this cellar. They hear something banging on the lid.
É você, boneca?
Ai! Sapiga, mano!
Falando pra você, cara. Viu? Eu vou entrar.
É a boneca, Luan.
So they climb in to investigate.
Cuidado.
Dá a câmera pra mim aqui, Júlio.
Ai, pô.
Nossa, que tá boa. Irmão, a boneca tá aqui.
The doll of horror is inside, but after stepping away from the horror doll for a minute, this happens.
A boneca tá do mesmo jeito.
Ai, ai! Cadê a boneca? Cadê a boneca, Pia? O que foi?
Cadê a boneca? Cadê a boneca? Tava aqui agora.
Ué, ela tava ali, irmão, ó. Ué!
It disappears. Where did the doll go? Was it possessed by something? Or did some slick soul do this to her? I have a theory. I think the doll was being used as a voodoo doll. That still doesn't explain where it disappeared to, but have no fear. The horror doll always returns.
Luan.
Juro, ele é! Ai!
Ai, ela! Ai! Bati o cara! Nossa, mano!
Although you and I were probably not hoping for an encore for this one will get you all kinds of nervous. According to the video, paranormal events have occurred in Guadalajara, Mexico, when a tourist was visiting the cathedral where the saint lays. The young child's eyes opened. According to the website La Oscura Habitación, the video was taken on December 12, 2012. The tourist who took the video footage on his cell phone claimed that he hadn't witnessed the child's eyes open at the time, but only saw it afterwards in viewing the video. The stories of how this saint became martyred are contradictory. Some stories call into question whether this is even the saint, as it's stated that all the reliquaries that remain of her are her skeletal hands. Whether this is the saint or not, the mystery begins and ends here. The girl is clearly past, has been for many years, and yet she's opening her eyes. Submitted to the Chills Narrator subreddit by Polaris9114, this redditor wrote, "My dad and I saw this happening not far from our house. We saw frequent lightning strikes in the clouds, yet there is no sound from the lightning whatsoever, and I have never seen anything like this in my life." Let's watch their submission and see what they're talking about.
Do you guys happen to know what this could be? Cause we sure as heck don't. And is Darth Sidious mad or something? We need answers, and preferably before our house gets struck with lightning.
In the comments, Shabby Kitten Rebel wrote, "Could be heat lightning," while Muram Wins wrote, "How'd it happen last night here? The sky all around looked like that for a couple hours, and suddenly a huge hailstorm hit that was super loud through the house, and the street was a little flooded, so it appears that regardless of the lack of storm noise, commenters seem to be in agreement that it's still storm related. Do you think that's the case? Let me know in the comments." Paul De Jesus says that he literally quit his security job after witnessing this while on surveillance. First a tire rolls into view, which I guess someone could have done out of frame, but then a backpack falls off a chair. It could have been attached to a string, but the video is too low quality to tell for certain, so I'll leave it up to you. Things are getting out of hand with this Pyrro poltergeist, published by Memoria Sobrenatural Inc. in December of 2021. The spirits first make their presence known in this haunted place via EMF meter. The crew tries to communicate with the spirits and the window shutter slowly opens, perhaps to distract from the fire being set behind them. When they leave the building, they see a dark figure cross a doorway in the firelight. Later, they're back inside and they hear clinking.
Cara, que sentimento horrível, pessoal.
And then a loud bang.
Cara do céu!
The flame they lit earlier goes out suddenly. Then, as they attempt to detect a presence using the EMF meter, the spirits send them up in flames.
Cara do céu!
Do you think this team finally got the message? This poltergeist couldn't be any clearer. He wants them gone. I don't think I'd ever go back to that place. Scary scratching from within the basement should alarm anyone. Some would call for help while others would grab their phone. Not for help, but to make sure whatever's down there is caught on camera. That's what two roommates do after one hears noises in a hidden crawl space of their home.
It could have been anything though.
Nah, I heard. I was scared, man. I heard noises. Hold on, move this first.
You're a scary cat, dude. It could have been rats or whatever. What about if we got a whole bunch of rats?
Nah, man.
The one who hasn't heard the noises is brave. The one who has is scared.
Are you going down there?
I'm not.
There's a light right there, dude. You go down there while I record.
There's no way he's going down into the creepy basement crawl space after hearing eerie sounds, so his roommate volunteers to show him up.
Like the light right there, the string. It's around here somewhere. Go for the lights, hold up. I can't reach. Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
He squints in the darkness, and that's when he finds the scariest thing of his life.
Hold on. Oh shit! Fast that!
1 minute and 27 seconds is when I can barely make out a shadow figure straightening up to greet him. He's screaming and the video ends before we get to see if he escapes from the crawl space before it reaches him. The man sees a ghost hiding in his basement according to the title of this video, but I'm not so sure the supernatural is what he's caught on camera. Something scary is in his basement crawl space for sure, but think about it.
Can't reach. I think I gotta step on that chair. There's a chair right here.
Why would there be a chair positioned directly under his crawl space entrance, unless somebody has been using it to climb into their home? I don't think this is a ghost haunting the basement. I think this is an insanely scary stranger encounter caught on video. Anyway, that's my analysis, but what do you make of this strange sighting? A reminder that you never know what or who is behind you. This short clip will have you looking over your shoulder. The video shows a man entering a small elevator. A ghostly woman enters slightly behind him. You can see her in the mirror, distracted on his phone. The man doesn't seem to notice he has company, but when he turns around, the woman has vanished. He is alone in the lift, or at least appears to be. Those in the comments are dying to know where the phantom stalker went, and whether or not this man made it out of the elevator. I hope he's alright, but it's really not looking like that's the case. About 4:30 in the morning, when a Ring doorbell camera motion sensor goes off, there's some weird lights in the corner, but most Chills fans know by now that this is simply a spiderweb strand, swinging back and forth in front of the camera. Even Lexus V says so in the description of this video. But with that said, I have no idea what happens next. A strange light appears at the window that they've never seen before and have never been able to explain since. The bizarre object hangs around long enough to make his dog go crazy. Another reason I think this video is real. There's no faking that kind of reaction from a dog. That animal knows something out there is a big threat, but what is it? No one's getting any sleep in this room tonight. Published by Amma Media Channel in April of 2022, a woman is trying to catch some Z's in bed when a poltergeist takes over the room. First, it causes this baby swing to jerk around erratically, which wakes the woman up. She gets up and holds it still, which it is for a moment, but then it starts to swing like crazy again. The woman seems to think it's the wind. She checks the window. When the chair is still again, something flies from off the top of the wardrobe. A moment later, the closet door creaks open and then swings open further. The baby swing starts moving briefly. A moment later, something creepy appears in the mirror of the wardrobe door. What is it? But I'd guess that it's what's causing all the chaos. Ghost Tales published this video in 2013. The description reads, "Dog senses a ghost in the room. Captured on film is the ghost actually throwing the ball." The clip begins with the doll just staring into the living room. Then all of a sudden she starts barking. She retreats into the kitchen where her owner stands filming the strange event. The dog heads slowly back into the living room, sniffing around. She creeps back in, lifting a leg tentatively as she peers out into the living room. There appears to be something draped on the table, and the dog starts barking towards it. The dog then picks up a ball it found on the floor, and then gets distracted by something else she found on the floor. Then she hears a noise that makes her spring and stare at the thing on the table again. She sniffs around it and is distracted again by the ball. Although the dog in this video does seem to be spooked by something, it doesn't appear as if the ball was thrown at it, as the author claims. But if you see it in this clip, let us know in the comments. Two friends stand in a creepy gray shed in the middle of the night to see who's the bravest. At approximately 3 a.m. they hear a quick sawing motion on the other side of the wall they're standing by, followed by some white orbs.
In the morning, and it's pretty creepy. What was that you?
No.
Was that you?
No.
When they go outside to investigate, the door slams behind them. Except there's just one problem. There's no door and there never was.
What the f, man?
But now they're freaking out, but neither wants to be the first to leave, so they go back inside. Then when they are standing in the center of the room, talking about a little girl who supposedly haunts this place, they hear the noise again, this time from the far corner.
Girl, yeah, whatever. Oh, what the f, man? Nah, what the f.
At this point, bravery is the last things on their minds as they both escape. Multiple instances of objects moving on their own has a YouTuber named Callum Tonner convinced that his Seattle house is haunted by a fearsome poltergeist. Lots of bizarre activity is frequently caught on camera, so I'm going to analyze the top 5 videos of best paranormal evidence. In the first weird video, he claims to find a coat hanger swinging back and forth in the closet. I will say that they could have pushed the object themselves before recording and then pretended it was a ghost. Normally I would say this video is fake, except this is far from the only scary event in which objects were caught on camera moving on their own, and the other videos are much harder to explain. Later that night, with the haunted closet behind him and its doors open, a completely different object is caught moving on camera on its own.
What was that?
Even if he were moving a magnetic object under the table, I still don't think it would be strong enough to move the other objects through the heavy wooden desk. He creates the paranormal experiment again 4 nights later, and if you weren't able to tell what the two objects are, it's a flashlight moving across a phone that's turned on. And here's the thing, any magnetic force strong enough to move an object that large should also cause damage to the phone, which it doesn't. The phone is fine, and therefore I think a ghost is moving the flashlight. 4 more nights later, the ghost has apparently taken to shuffling through his private card collection. And even more haunting, paranormal activity is caught on camera without any explanation. If you were thinking that he bent the cards or something to make them fall over, but not what's happening, you can see more of the cards in this video. They look perfectly straight and evenly balanced, so tell me how these sturdy objects are caught on tape moving. Paranormal activity is all I can think for these super creepy and mysterious events, but I'm open to any other explanation. A YouTuber named Gothboy Prince is playing with a Ouija board that refuses to cooperate with the camera. Apparently the pointer moves on its own, but only when he's not recording.
Hello?
Knocking on the Ouija board isn't the only way he shows disrespect. He tries to badmouth a spirit into moving the pointer on camera for proof.
I think you're a coward. That's what I think it is. I think you're nothing but a coward.
Less than 10 seconds later, he gets a silent reply.
It's moving.
At one point, Gothboy Prince hears a noise and looks up. You can see that he's sitting in bed with the Ouija board on his lap. There's absolutely no room for anyone to be controlling the pointer with a magnet from underneath, so that explanation is out. You can also see that he is alone and no one is in front of him pulling a string, as if all of this weren't already bizarre enough.
You see this?
The pointer moves too frequently and in too many different directions to be done with a string, which by the way would be clearly visible from this close of a distance away. Even paranormal skeptics can't explain how this pointer was able to move with no one nearby, but if you think you can, I would really like to hear the real reason.
Just like lights. Some sort of paranormal activity.
This gym could be haunted according to Coach Megan, who is making a video of her backhand spring when she sees what she describes as a little blue light on the speaker, almost like a camera flash, except she is by herself, so nobody could have taken it. 2 seconds later, a floating white anomaly travels towards her in the mirror and then mysteriously disappears, only to resurface 2 seconds afterwards as a strange white light streaking down from behind. After reviewing the evidence, I honestly can't tell if this scary moment is a camera glitch, edited, or truly paranormal, but since the video is pretty good quality, I think it's probably more likely real than not.
Anything that's gonna scare you, it's just like lights. Some sort of paranormal activity.
Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.